I left off the last article drawing comparisons between the invention of the printing press and the invention of AI. For depth on this concept, we should first take a look back at the past few decades. I graduated high school right around the time the internet became widely adopted. I had always been interested in technology and artistically inclined, and I naturally focused on learning digital tools for art. Some people look back on the early internet as some sort of golden age of freedom of sorts. And I guess in many ways it was. When it comes to the free exchange of information, it definitely was a boon to society. This benefit came with a trade-off, however. Information of all types became virtually free, and so began an era where one could truly learn anything they wanted. People could also digitize any type of media and make those available for free, which meant that art, audio, and visual lost immense value once it was transferred into a digital format. At this time, this was looked on as some sort of liberation that was enabled by technology. We were sticking it to the man by sharing amongst ourselves. There may have been some truth in that belief. The music industry, for example, controlled the distribution mechanisms and therefore would wield immense power and control over the artists. The internet destroyed this control mechanism completely and collapsed the model. The music industry went from an all-time high of $14.6 billion in 1999, crashing to $6.7 billion in the year 2014. A new model was established on the internet. Companies designed systems for people to interact with each other within. This is what's called the platform model, where they offered you a place to share whatever it was you were interested in for free. Before I began my career as an artist, and even for some time after I participated in these online communities that were art focused, I entered competitions on sites like the now defunct CG Society and CG Talk. At the time, winning one of these would nearly guarantee a job. It all seemed new and exciting. Share your music, share your art, share your opinion, express yourself freely. Most well-known adages are true. We all know that there is no free lunch. We know now that when we use these systems, we become the products. The reasons we were the products throughout this era is because there existed a large gap between the average person, artist, or creator and the specialized abilities required to build and maintain a complex website. Out of this gap grew a variety of tech platforms. Some in social media space are now monoliths. X, YouTube, Meta, these are the names we're all familiar with. They have become embedded in the culture. This is by design. I'm here to tell you that AI closes the technological gaps that these monoliths have been leveraging to their advantage, and that advantage no longer exists. This means that we no longer need them, and we can build better systems that work to our own specified benefits. These platforms are at this point analogous to the music industry companies that I mentioned earlier on in this article. The services that they offer are destined to become even more predatory than they already are, while providing shittier experiences. This is due to how their profit model works, and they have no meaningful way to improve it. This presents us with an opportunity. Instead of being down in the dumps about how AI is taking your job, you should be celebrating the fact that we can now build systems that we really want. People are focused on AI and content creation. They should be looking at distribution as the primary lever for value creation. We should be celebrating that these monoliths will soon be obsolete, slotted for deletion. Nearly every aspect of the traditional corporate structure, it really doesn't need to exist anymore. It may seem like AI is going to take all the art and creative jobs, but have you really thought this through? Definitely, any kind of art for marketing and advertising purposes will be AI generated. And yes, this does mean a huge loss of revenue for any professional working in these sectors. But I'll ask you, if you've ever been an artist who spent time creating this sort of content, how much did you really enjoy it? How much true expression were you able to put into your work? Having worked on projects that haven't resonated with me in my own career, it's a fair guess that you likely were not able to express yourself creatively as you might have wanted to. What you probably really want is to express yourself freely and to cultivate a real appreciation for your craft without regard to any external system. With the advent of AI art, it looks like we're at the peak of devaluation of art. After all, if anyone can type words and produce an image or video on command, then what value do these things have? In some sense, this is true, especially for the medium short term. Though I think this will likely produce an unanticipated side effect for the corporate behemoths. Every ending is a new beginning. See the loop? If a world is awash in AI content, it will have a certain flavor, tone, and feeling to it. An additional problem that corporate AI content systems face is that they all have to toe the line for the particular corporate entity that created them, and they end up possessing a level of inauthenticity embedded within them in the way that they react. This is the same inauthenticity mask that humans must wear when participating in corporate culture. At this point in AI development, a large segment can still distinguish between AI creations and human creations. What's more, as we approach peak inauthenticity, people will naturally gravitate to true authenticity. This is actually already the case in the current platform model. Lastly, AI will need a constant flow of content from artists and creators to improve and to adapt to new art styles, etc. Platforms in the current ecosystem know this, and they're creating systems to try to ensure their survival and avoid model collapse. All of this to say that this means real, authentic content will continue to be more valuable than it ever was before. If we can build systems that protect content from predatory companies and systems, or at least build a formidable moat, we can increase the value of content even further.